What's going on YouTube? Today we're going to look at 10 haunting Canadian murders that no one can solve. Should be pretty interesting. My question is, why can't they solve them? Get back to you. Okay guys, if you haven't subscribed, down below, go down and subscribe, click the bell, click on all. You get all my videos when I post them. Okay, so yeah, in 2012, homicides were up less than 1% of Canada's violent crimes. Canadian police reported 543 homicides in 2012. Sorry about that. Translating to a homicide rate of about 1.55 per 100,000 people. Shouldn't be that high. Despite these statistics, however, there are currently 3,400 unsolved murders in Canada dating back to 1961. Each year, 1 in 4 murders go unsolved. My question is, why? Shouldn't be that way. Well, some of these cases might have faded from the news reports. They still haunt the families and the communities that they happened in. If you have any information at all, then get a hold of the Canadian Crime Stoppers. They'll know what to do with it. You don't have to give your name or anything. You stay completely private. Alright? There you go, guys. Let's get into this. Remember, like, share, and subscribe down below. Let's go. In our number 10 spot, we have Barbara Jean McLean from Calgary, Alberta. On February 25, 1977, Barbara Jean McLean was at Highlander Bar for a night out with her friends and her boyfriend. As the evening progressed, she and her boyfriend got into an argument, and the bar kicked him out. Barbara Jean followed him out to the parking lot, where the couple got into another fight. At around 2:30 a.m., witnesses reported seeing her boyfriend speed off in his green Volvo, leaving Barbara Jean alone in the parking lot. Her friends later told police that she had planned to hitchhike to a party. She never arrived. The following day, a man walking his dog found her body. She had been strangled. Police believed she was killed at another location and then moved to the gravel road. On another investigation, police thought that her death was connected to another homicide, that of Melissa Ann Reichert. Melissa was found murdered on September 16 the previous year. She was last seen leaving the YMCA, where she worked as a room attendant, planning to hitchhike out of the city, it being Calgary, guys, to enjoy her 2 days off. She made it safely to McMahon Stadium in Calgary, but she was later found strangled, dumped on the gravel road, and all her personal belongings, including her wallet with cash in it, were left at the scene, indicating robbery was not a motive. A person of interest was the sex offender Gary McAster, or McAstocker is the last name. I'll put it up if you guys like. He committed suicide when he found out that police wanted to question him regarding the homicide of another girl, 14-year-old Tina McPhee. Number 9 on our list is Rona Margaret Duncan, North Vancouver, British Columbia. If you go back in my videos, you'll notice I've done a story on her before. Rona Margaret Duncan. Her boyfriend, Sean Maples. Her friend, Marion Bogues. And Marion's boyfriend, Owen Perry. Attended a house party on the evening of July 16, 1976. The group left the house party together and parted ways around 2:45 a.m. near Marion's home. Marion's home was about 5 blocks away from Rona's, leaving Rona to walk the remaining distance alone. Around 3 a.m., a neighbor of Duncan's reported being woke up to loud voices of a man and a woman. He went out to investigate, but saw nothing. He shouted, "What's going on out here?" And the voices stopped. The following morning, Rona's body was discovered behind a different neighbor's garage. She was partially dressed and had been sexually assaulted and strangled. Investigators interviewed family, friends, and acquaintances and compiled a list of suspects. They also administered polygraph tests and obtained DNA to compare to their list of suspects. All high-level suspects were eliminated. The remaining original suspects are now either dead or untraceable. And number 8 is Carrian Brown from Thompson, Manitoba. The case of 15-year-old Carrie Ann Brown has the unfortunate distinction of being Thompson, Manitoba's oldest unsolved homicide. On October 16, 1986, Carrie Ann attended a house party with a group of friends. She left it with one friend who forgot something inside and went back inside to retrieve it, leaving Carrie alone outside to wait. When the friend came back outside, Carrie was gone. Witnesses report seeing Carrie Ann getting into a van around 10:45 p.m. 2 days later, her body was discovered in the woods. She had been sexually assaulted, severely beaten, and bludgeoned repeatedly on her face and head. A large wood-stained stick was found at the scene. DNA samples determined that at least 2 different men were involved. An arrest was made shortly thereafter, but there was no actual physical evidence against the suspect, so he was discharged. Manitoba's Cold Case Squad is actively investigating this case. DNA continues to be collected from possible suspects. Polygraphs are still being administered, and evidence is being re-examined. Number 7 on our list is Kelly Jane Evelyn Cook of Standard, Alberta. Kelly Jane Evelyn Cook, 15, provided babysitting services in her community of Standard, Alberta. On the morning of April 22, 1981, she received a call asking if she was available to babysit that evening. The caller gave his name as Bill Christensen and said he would pick her up. As usual, Kelly promised her parents to call once she arrived at the babysitting job. At 8:30 p.m., a man arrived in what witnesses would later describe as a full-size American car. Kelly was seen driving away from her residence with this man. She never called her parents. On June 28th, her body was found in the Chin Lake Reservoir outside of Lethbridge, which is approximately 130 kilometers, which is 80 miles, from Standard. She was fully clothed. Her body was tied to cinder blocks and tossed into the water. Witnesses described the man as being 30 to 45 years old in 1981, making him, today he would be about 81 years old at the most. So between 71 and 81 years old. He was around 178 centimeters, making him 5 foot 10 inches tall, with a medium to heavy build and dark hair. There is currently a $120,000 reward being offered to anyone with information. And number 6 on our list is Lisa Marie Young, Nanaimo, British Columbia. June 30, 2014 marked the 12th anniversary. Well, June 30, 2024 will mark the 22nd anniversary of the disappearance of Lisa Marie Young. On Canada Day weekend 2002, the 21-year-old was getting ready to go out at about 11 p.m. for a night out with friends. Her father expressed his concern that it was too late to go out. He didn't realize it would be the last time he would ever see his daughter. Lisa Marie went to the Club 241 located on Skinner Street in Nanaimo. She was seen leaving the club at around 2:30 a.m. She met a man in the parking lot offering to drive her, and her 2 male friends wherever they wanted to go. The man was described as being in his 20s and driving a late model red Jaguar. They all attended the house party, left, and decided to go to another one. At the second party, Lisa Marie became hungry and asked to go to a sandwich shop. The driver of the red Jaguar said he would take her, and her 2 male friends decided to stay behind at the party. At around 4:30 a.m., Lisa Marie contacted a friend. The man had not taken her to the sandwich shop, she said. They'd been driving to someone's house, and she was waiting in the car for him to return. She was worried about the driver and about the situation she found herself in. She was never heard from or seen again. Police were able to locate the driver of the car, interviewed him, and have forensics go over the vehicle. While he remains a person of interest, police have no evidence against him. His grandmother, a prominent member of the community, owned the vehicle. After she learned about the investigation, she sold the Jaguar and threatened the police with a lawsuit if they kept up bothering her grandson. Police continue to actively investigate this case. The family continues their own investigation. They've organized searches, candlelight vigils, and a run in Lisa's honor to keep her case and name alive. Number 5 on our list is Kimberly Ann Mcandrew from Halifax, Nova Scotia. Kimberly Ann Mcandrew was a 19-year-old Dalhousie University undergrad working a summer job at the local Canadian Tire. On August 12, 1989, the store was quiet, so her supervisor told her to leave early. Kimberly left at approximately 4:20 p.m. She lived about 15 minutes from the store. in an apartment she shared with her two sisters. One of the sisters and a friend were supposed to pick her up at 5 p.m., not knowing she had left early. Witnesses report seeing Kimberly at the Gardenia flower shop at the Panhorn Mall. A cashier sold her a balloon and a rose. Do you know a better way to make a pretty girl smile? There you go. It was the last confirmed sighting of Kimberly. Police still receive and investigate tips, conduct and interview suspects, and administer polygraph tests. There have been several reports of sightings of Kimberly, but nothing certain. She has not contacted her family in all these years, and a body has never been found. Police suspect foul play. Kimberly was due to have her braces taken off in a few days and was really looking forward to it. So it's unlikely she ran away. Serial killer Michael Wayne Grayla who was convicted of 7 homicides but confessed to 11 or more, said her name seemed familiar, but he was not sure if she was one of the victims. She may have been. He was in the Halifax area at the time of her disappearance. Another serial killer, Andrew Paul Johnson, guilty of kidnapping, attempted kidnapping, trying to lure children to his car, is currently the prime suspect, but police don't have enough to charge him. At the time of Kimberly's disappearance, he was also in Halifax area. When he was arrested, he had a 20-year-old disabled girl in the trunk of his car, along with a fake police badge, handcuffs, a meat cleaver, packing tape, a mask, and KY jelly. Wonder why. His name has been linked not only to Kimberly's disappearance, but to several others in the Halifax area. So come on, guys. Somebody out there knows something. Call the Canadian Crime Stoppers. Let's get to the bottom of this. Okay, guys, number 4 is Catherine Mary Herbert of Mesqui, British Columbia. Okay, guys, on September 24, 1975, 11-year-old Catherine Mary Herbert failed to come home from a friend's house after school. Her mother, Sherry Greer, began calling everyone she knew in the area. People said that Mary had left her friend and walked toward home. The last time anyone saw her was 9:15 p.m. It's a bit late for an 11-year-old to be out, but okay. 2 months later, her body was found on a nearby Mesqui, sorry guys, First Nation reservation. She had been killed by repeated blows to the head. Why? She had a busted skull and a broken jaw. Sorry guys, I had trouble getting that out. An 11-year-old. What? Like, I don't understand. What has she done to deserve that? An 11-year-old child. Like, okay, I'm confused now. I just don't get that. The autopsy was not able to determine if she had been sexually assaulted prior to her death. Damn, I hope not. After all that, witnesses reported seeing a man near her home in an older white American-made vehicle. The man has Okay, this man has never come forward, nor has he been identified. An anonymous donor has put up a $10,000 reward for the arrest and conviction of Catherine's murderer. That's just sick, guys. An 11-year-old girl. You know what? Canadian Crime Stoppers, if you know anything, call. Hey, and our number 3 spot goes to Jane and Catherine Johnson, Turner Valley, Alberta. Turner Valley firefighters responded to a call on the evening of September 3, 1996. After putting out a blaze, they found the bodies of 36-year-old Jane and her 8-year-old daughter, Catherine, inside. The autopsy revealed that both had died before the fire. Jane had been stabbed to death, while the cause of death for Catherine has never been revealed by investigators, and it probably never won't be. She's 8 years old. Alright? Jane was 5 months pregnant at the time of her murder. Pretty sad. Excuse me, guys. Well, police won't reveal much information like where the fire started. They are convinced that whoever did this was known to Jane and was very familiar with her routine. Jane, she was engaged at the time and spent most nights at her fiance's, but spent this evening at home because Catherine was starting school the next day. The fire, according to investigators, was an attempt to destroy evidence and conceal the murder. 2 persons of interest emerged. The first was Jane's ex-husband and Catherine's father, Sam Johnson. But he passed a polygraph and had an alibi. And what about DNA? Forensics? Really? The second person of interest was the fiancé, Henry Reichert. Well, Reichert, excuse me guys, a little bit of gas, has only maintained his innocence, and police have no evidence against him. Many believe he had something to do with the murders. His attorney advised him to submit a DNA sample, but to refuse a polygraph. Okay, why would it be the fiancé if she's spending most of her nights or whatever, most of her days with him at his place? That doesn't make any sense. Why would he kill her? That makes no sense at all. Anyways, like and subscribe, guys, alright? In our number 2 spot, we have Susan Tyse and Aaron Gilmore of Toronto, Ontario. Okay, guys, Susan Tyse, a recently separated mother of 4, moved from Calgary, Alberta to Toronto, Ontario, to begin a new chapter in her life. She bought a house on Gray Street in Toronto's Little Italy district and was by all accounts happy at starting over. After not hearing from Susan for a while, her brother-in-law became worried and decided to check up on her in person. Upon seeing her mailbox overflowing, he became even more worried and entered the home. He found her body in the bedroom on the 2nd floor. She had been sexually assaulted and viciously stabbed to death. Most of the wounds to her chest in a manner that some investigators referred to as overkill. There was no sign of forced entry to her home. She had been in dead a few days before being discovered. 4 months later, the body of 22-year-old Aaron Gilmore was found in her Yorkville apartment, a few kilometers from the Tyse crime scene. Gilmore had been taking classes at a fashion school and worked part-time at the Yorkville clothing boutique. She planned that evening after her shift to meet up with her boyfriend. He arrived at 9:20 p.m., saw the door ajar, and then found Erin's lifeless body bundled up under the duvet. She had been tied up and sexually assaulted, and like Susan Tyse, had vicious stab wounds, mostly to her chest. The fatal stab wound went right through her heart. Police always thought the two murders were committed by the same person. In 2000, a DNA test proved it, but the culprit remains unknown. I hope they catch this guy pretty quick, or woman. In our number one spot, you're going to find Christine Jessup of Queensville, Ontario. In what could only be called as the greatest miscarriages of justice in the Canadian legal system, we have a case of 9-year-old Christine Jessup and the man arrested for her murder. On October 3rd, 1984, Christine was dropped off by the school bus at 3:50 p.m. Her parents were not at home. Excuse me. Her father was working and her mother was out doing errands. Christine brought the mail, placed it and her backpack on the kitchen counter, and walked to the store to buy some bubble gum at a nearby convenience store. It would only be the last time anyone saw her alive. Police quickly settled on a suspect, 23-year-old Guy Paul Morin, who lived next door. Neighbors said he was strange. Police agreed. Once they questioned him, he also never had a girlfriend, still lived at home with his parents, and did not have much of a social life. A little over 2 months later, Christine's body was found in a field near Sunderland, 50 kilometers, 30 miles from Queensville. The 145 centimeter, 4 feet 9 inch girl had been sexually assaulted and stabbed multiple times. The killer had posed her body with her legs spread apart. She was naked, but for her sweater, with her remaining clothing piled by her feet. Police arrested Morin in April 1985. He had an alibi. His time card showed that he'd punched out of work at 3:32 p.m. the day of Christine's murder, and he was then seen in several locations, including the lottery ticket center, the grocery store, and a gas station. He arrived home about 5:30 p.m. His parents and brother-in-law confirmed that he stayed there the rest of the day. As a result, Morin was acquitted at his trial in 1986. However, the Crown appealed this verdict, blaming errors for the acquittal. This was a double jeopardy. But a new trial began in 1992. Morin was found guilty and was sentenced to life imprisonment. Unlike other child sex offenders, he was not segregated. He was kept in a general population. As a result, he was often beaten and raped. That's what happens in there, guys. It's like he didn't get dead. By 1995, forensic technology had advanced, and Morin's legal team tested his DNA against evidence from the crime scene. The test proved with certainty that Morin was not the man who had sexually assaulted and killed Christine Jessup. He was innocent. On January 23, 1995, Morin was formally acquitted and all charges excuse me, and was released from prison. An inquiry revealed that Christine's parents had lied about when they'd arrived home to help build a case against Morin. The police were aware the parents had lied. The prosecution had withheld evidence from the defense, and lab technicians had contaminated samples. Morin received compensation of $1.5 million. Christine Jessup's murderer remains at large. So guys, if you know anything about this, get on the phone. Call your local police station, call the Canadian Crime Stoppers, let them know. This guy needs to get picked up. He needs to go behind bars. Police are no longer actively investigating the case. The case will only be reopened if they receive new information. There you go, guys. This guy needs to be taken off the street. He needs to be taken down. So if you know anything about it, get on the phone. Call. Alright? Okay, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. I need your help, so does the channel. Hey guys. Okay, there is your 10 haunting Canadian murders that no one can solve. Alright? So if anybody out there, and guaranteed somebody knows something about any one of these cases, guaranteed somebody knows something. Somebody knows who did it. And they're holding back, they're not talking. So get on it, pick up the phone, make that phone call. Let's get these guys off the street. They're killing kids and women, pregnant women. They're nothing but scumbags. They need to be taken off the street. Alright? So let's get on it. I mean, let's work together. Let's get them off the street. Okay. Now, with that being said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Alright? And I'll be getting more for you. Ciao, everybody.